We recording? As always, baby. What's up, y'all? It's Alex with ALP Entertainment. As always, with the co-host, your boy Luke. Luke, say what's up.
What up?
We're gonna be talking about a couple things today. We got quite a bit to catch up on. Life just happens. You know, we both got busy, and
Nebraska goes 0-2. Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. It's okay. You know, we're gonna talk about the Colorado game. We're gonna talk about the Northern Illinois game. I think definitely gonna start with the Colorado game. I would say going into this, it is the historic rivalry game from the Big 12 days, the Big 8 days. I don't understand why Colorado, quote, took it personal. I really don't understand that, because in my opinion, the only person on their staff that actually understands the rivalry is probably Dion. But even then, he never played in it.
He said that he had to go back and learn about it, even when they just recently played Colorado State. He's like, I didn't know really about anything about the rivalry, and he had to take a deep dive and learn about that kind of stuff. And he's kind of just the guy that'll search and find anything to grab onto to use as a motivator, even if it's not real, which was kind of what he did with Nebraska.
He said my name. It's like, no, he actually didn't. Matt Rule never said anything about you. I mean, if he did, it was very non-context. Maybe it was a very subtle thing that probably nobody caught. But
yeah, I don't know. He was just trying to find something to motivate his players with. And it just stinks that we lost the way we did against those guys too.
So we definitely got some notes on it. I will say, I think that Nebraska fans and college football fans expected that game to be a high view game. 8.79 million people watched that game start to finish, or just throughout the entire broadcast. I thought that's huge. I think that shows that Nebraska fans one, travel well. I know my brother went. We pay attention to games even though we're probably not going to win them.
Yeah, I mean, all of America was watching that game.
Probably maybe Dion. Well, it was because of Dion.
Yeah, mostly because of Dion. But Nebraska does definitely put in a good chunk of those million of viewers every time they take the field. But I'm sure most of those Husker viewers probably turned it off around the third, fourth quarter, as things got a little ugly and out of hand.
It just comes with the territory, right? I guess now we can dive into the actual game itself. I thought defense isn't phenomenal. Yeah, we gave up 30-some points. It is what it is. But you have Colorado, who really rebuilt their entire team, top to bottom. They only kept 2 or 3 players.
Yeah,
they rebuilt everybody,
and it was really only off big plays too. With it's their wide receivers and their quarterbacks. Those are their money makers, their playmakers, and that's what they ended up beating us with. And we knew going in that we couldn't turn this game into a shootout type of game, and we had to take care of the ball, turn it into a Big Ten type of physical game at the line. And we kind of were doing that towards the beginning, and after keeping the defense out for 99% of the time, they obviously get tired no matter how many times we rotate guys.
Yeah, and to kind of your point too, we didn't take care of the ball. That was the issue, is we did such an amazing job of holding them, defensively, rushing way. We just
2 yards a carry, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it was less than that. I'm not even sure. But right now Nebraska ranks second nationally
in rushing defense. Yeah. I know after that game, we led the nation in sacks, and I think now, as of today, we're at third. We're tied for third. After the Northern Illinois
I saw a
game.
whole list of things, all of them in the teens, under 10, and then there was another thing that was ranked 24. I mean, pretty much our whole defense is going to be top 10, I'd say.
Gosh, and then it definitely showed too the inconsistency of our offense. I think not having wide receivers, that stud wide receiver, or even just a playmaker, I think definitely showed. We had the transfer Billy Kemp from Virginia. Thomas Fedoni, not really in-state, but across the pond kind of guy. We're from Iowa, that number 1 tight end in the class, came up here, tears ACL in camp, has to sit out a year. Now he's back.
Thomas Fidone really didn't play almost 3 years of meaningful football, and he's really starting to kind of come into himself the last couple of games, and we need him because, like Alex said, we're really short on skill and just players in general on the wide receiver position. And I know I trust Tanner Borkacher, their other tight end. He's kind of just that safety tight end, but Thomas Fidone's got the capability of making those big plays. His catch radius is ridiculous.
Dude, I thought that way with Fidone. Fidone is just insanely athletic.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of like what Matt Rule said because I wrote some stuff down. We gave up 17 points off of turnovers. Like, we can't do that. We also had 4 turnovers that game, and I don't want to blame Jeff, but it's kind of like majority of it was your fault.
It was a majority of Jeff's fault. I mean, there's not really another way that you can put it. And I mean, he took the blame for it, and I know the coach tried to take some of the blame off of him, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I mean, it was purely Jeff Sims' fault with at least 3 of the 4 fumbles.
And then we had Gabe Irwin looked really good.
Gabe Irvin looked really good. I'm still an Anthony Grant fan. That's the guy that I want to see get the most touches, because the dude, I mean, just the eye test, the guy is physically gifted at running the football.
Isn't he a senior this year?
If he's a senior, yeah, if not a senior, he's a junior. And that's not saying that I don't like Gabe Irvin, because I want Gabe Irvin to touch the ball too. That guy's too big and strong to not touch the ball. But
the fact that we have a great 1-2 punch where we just have fast, physical running backs that will run you over and are kind of shifty, like, I like that. I like the 1-2 punch that we have here. I will say too that Matt Rule said it earlier in the year. I don't know if it was like after game 1 or if it was kind of like preseason kind of vibes, but he said if you turn over the ball, you won't play for us. That was actually after Grant fumbled it at Minnesota. So yes, it was after week 1. You remember when Grant fumbled it and then we gave up the ball?
Yeah, he fumbled, and then Matt Rule kind of held to his word and said that if you fumble or you turn the ball over, you can't play for us. But there seemed to kind of be a double standard with the quarterback after he fumbled it so many times. And I know Jeff Sims is his guy. He handpicked Jeff Sims to be his quarterback. And so I'm sure for Matt Rule, he's trying his hardest not to eat crow on this pick. But he's got to put someone in there that's able to take care of the ball and manage our game, because our offense is not explosive. We need to manage our offense.
I agree, and I think definitely the mental cues or the quote rhythm of the offense, like the flow of the offense, was not very good last game. Not Northern Illinois, but Colorado game. I didn't think it was that great. I thought, with the tight end motion where they snapped it and Fidone got hit by the ball, like, that's not Fidone's problem.
There seemed miscommunication. There was, the amount of times Sims stares down his receivers too, it pisses me off.
Is it me, or does it look like Sims like short arms it? Like he doesn't fully extend his arm. And I agree with you, he looks down his targets, because he does.
No, he plays stiff. He doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't. It takes a while for him. The good times we did see him throw the ball, it's been a while for him to get into that rhythm. He definitely can't come into the game and start off high. Or at least we haven't seen that yet.
I will say I like Jeff's running ability. That's not like a secret. I think Jeff is a really good runner. I think his passing is his major flaw. And then I did read some stuff, and I did listen to some other podcasters out in the world that talked mainly about it might be our offensive coordinator. Like how they said the OC, wherever he's been, he always turns the ball over. Obviously, you can't blame him for turning the ball over, but they're saying like his scheme is known for the high risk, high reward kind of style.
Yeah. They took a chance on their ability to fix Jeff Sims. Because they knew coming in that with their offensive coordinator, the way that he ran the offense, it's turnover prone, and everyone knows that Jeff Sims coming in is also turnover prone. So seeing this many turnovers in the beginning of the season with those two combined together shouldn't surprise everyone, but I think just the excessive amount of turnovers and the dumb turnovers that we've seen is what's making everyone really mad.
Yeah, and I think Two, I will give Matt Rule, so much credit for the way he held the press conference afterwards and conducts himself, and the way that he just like faces adversity head on. Like I'm on record on this podcast talking about I'm a Matt Rule fan. Like I am. I've been a fan of his since Baylor. Honestly, I didn't have a problem with him in Carolina. I think that he's better coaching college kids than pros. I think that's just because that's just the way that he talks, speaks, coordinates himself, whatever it might be. I know that Matt Rule, after the Colorado game, he sat down and was like, I'm going to answer all of your questions. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm going to answer all of them, whatever it may be, even the hard ones. So, major applause to him.
Yeah, you got to respect him for that. And he's going to stick to his guns, and he's going to continue to be the man that he said that he's always been. And you got to applaud him for that. And I know it's just tough for the fans seeing other teams with new coaches having a successful year, maybe even with less talent. But I mean, you just got to, that's what Matt Rule said. This is how he does it. And you're going to have to stick with his plan and see it succeed if you want to cheer on this team. But I mean,
I liked what he said when he's like, "This is what you get when you hired me."
Yeah,
like
I mean, at first
get.
That didn't sit super well with me, but it took me a little bit to digest it, and we're like, all right, that was probably the correct phrasing, the correct answer. But I just know a lot of fans want to see success now.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with Nebraska fans too. Like I'm one of them, right? We're one of two, but I know that the way that he's been answering that question and like teaching that question to the team and the staff is just like, let it go. Like I hate to say it, but like then is then and now is now. That's the best way to explain it. Like we are a whole different team where the game has changed drastically from the 90s to the 2000s, from the 2000s to the 10s, the 10s to the 20s. Like we've changed drastically. So I agree with him 100% of, we need to let that go. We need to live in the moment and live in the now, because if we continue to run the 90s style team that Nebraska was, like we're not even going to win a game, I don't think.
No, and it doesn't help when you schedule 2 Power 5 teams and 1 conference opponent to start out your season, and both being on the road. So Matt Rule didn't really have any help with that, but just the way that he responds after those losses, I was impressed with, and I think the way that the team is going to respond after those losses is going to be a lot better than the previous coaching staff. I'm excited to see what they do against Louisiana Tech. I was happy to see what they did against NIU.
Yep.
And I think Matt Rule is really good at building on stuff, and I don't think we've really seen that in the past couple of years on building off failures and building off successes.
I will tell you, I really wish that they continued to release those like YouTube series that they've been showing leading up to week 1. And I can't remember, it was like what's next or who's next.
Yeah.
I wish that they would have continued to do that. That's such a cool like insider thing. Like I know that they don't want to, because then it's like giving opponents like a insider look on what we do. I just think it's like it actually shows the non-Nebraska fan or non-like hype fan essentially, or the newer fans, excuse me, that this is the process. Like this is how it is internally. And it also shows, the diehards that are like, hey, this is a process that we're doing. Like here's physical evidence to prove that, we're doing what we're saying and saying what we're doing. So I wish that they would continue it, and I get why they're not. But let's go into the Northern Illinois game from yesterday. So once again, defense stellar.
Yeah, balled out.
You had all 11 hats going to the ball at one time. I mean, it was beautiful execution across the board. I know Tony White's getting major props from across the country, from coaches across the country, and even like sports broadcasting. Like people are hyping him up, and rightfully so.
Yeah, I'd say right now he's the king of 3-3-5 defense in college football. There's not really another coach that runs it as well as he does, and he's proven it at multiple different stops. And I enjoyed all the Twitter after the game of get this man a raise, and And no
Yeah.
shit. Like
Give him a $500,000 raise.
Get Tony White a raise, because that man, he's proven that he's your most reliable and one of the better coaches that you've hired so far this season.
I agree. I think it's allowing our defense, kind of like what we talked about in episode 1, it's allowing our defense to fly around a lot more and just be a lot more aggressive. Like, we're not sending the pressure as much as we used to. But
yeah, because you send 3 and you drop back 7 or 8. I don't.
Pretty much 8.
So you drop back 8 and you send 3. That's for a quarterback that's trained to go through its progressions and throwing motions and stuff. That's near impossible. You're trained to look at 7 guys and you got 8 guys dropping back there. Nebraska plays smaller, quicker, athletic players on the defense that can break to the ball a lot quicker. So that 3-3-5 with their player makeup they have on defense is just that's what's making it click.
And it was even big too when we stopped him in the red zone. We held him to a field goal. I mean, we fumbled the ball. Or we did fumble it technically, but we got that strip sacked. From when
I heard the fumble wasn't truly on Harburg. That he went untouched, unblocked.
It was a blitz on his blind side.
Yeah.
Pretty much what happened was hit his throwing arm before the motion can go through.
The left side, let me tell you, it's been a struggle bus for the left side offensive line. Mostly Turner Corcoran, not to name names, but
no free shout-outs.
Yeah. But yeah, they're gonna have to get that fixed. And I know they got a young up and comer like Jenkins Jones. I'm not quite sure what his name is, but he's a freshman, a young kid. That's coming up, and then they're trying to get Teddy Prohaska healthy. We saw a little snippet of him in NIU. They really threw him more towards the right side in a tight end package for those jumbo packages when they run the ball. But we didn't really see him on the left side, and that's probably where most of the fans want to see him, and not Turner Corcoran.
Not Turner Corcoran. No, so pretty much what ended up happening, like I said, Harburg just got his arm hit, ball came loose, and it was just right there. Like, it's at the 13-yard line. So I mean, we pretty much set them up like, here, take the ball and go score. It was kind of one of those great moments of flashbacking of Colorado where we gave them pretty much scores. But major credit to the defense of stepping up, stopping them. Obviously, like, we understand it's NIU and not Colorado, but that change from Colorado to NIU showed that we actually made that change in the adjustment. That's what we were saying earlier, that we think this staff is really good at applying adjustments from week to week where they need to and when they need to. And we saw that with NIU. I thought our special teams looked phenomenal too. I think just tackling, like open field tackling, getting down to the ball. We did down him at the 1-yard line, so I thought that was huge.
Yeah, Brian Buschini to be quite honest, he had a terrible game against Colorado, and I know that he and Sam Cook were practicing together earlier in the week and met together before the game with NIU.
Yep.
And he really balled out at NIU. I know his punt average went up, the hang time went up, and just all together as a special teams as a whole, they all stepped up.
It looked good. I mean, obviously we didn't let up a roughing the kicker penalty again, but I thought we looked phenomenal on that phase of the game. I think defense, we're going to look good. I think special teams, we're going to be okay. I think offense is where we struggle. And I hate to say that because of, you want your offense to score points, but our defense is the one that's doing it.
Yeah, I think our offense really taps out at about 30 points. Like, that's probably about as against NIU. What did we get? 35 or 30?
Yeah, but also I think we allowed 11 points, but that was our backups and third strings are playing in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was a garbage time at the end. So
it was more of a experience kind of thing to see. I thought too that Fedoni and Kempt, like, I know Fedoni scored, but I thought Fedoni and Kempt are very inconsistent. I know Fedoni's more utilized as your blocking tight end, which he's on record saying that I would rather block. I love throwing people around. He catches the, quote, spectacular catches, but he can't make the easy day one catches. And I also think that we utilize Kemp the wrong way. I think that we use Kemp for more of your speedy shifter that just gets these jet motions, or it's just a quick screen or a drag route. He's not more of your post corner or go route kind of receiver.
Yeah, he is, but he's one of our playmakers. He has the most touchdowns, the most catches, the most yards out of anyone on our team right now. And so with this lackluster offense, we just have to get the ball in our playmakers' hands. And so I was happy to see that he got more touches against NIU, and I know Thomas Fidone got more touches. I did see a clip. I wasn't a fan. I didn't know how good at open field running Thomas Fidone was, and I saw he's not that shifty.
Nope.
Like he looks like he'll hurdle you or he'll pull a move on you, but he's pretty straightforward up and down.
Why does he kind of look like Frankenstein?
Yeah, he has an awkward build, that's for sure.
But he's just like jacked. Like I don't know if during that recovery time frame that like he was just lifting constantly. Like he looks massive physique wise.
Yeah, and that's probably why he likes blocking a lot, because he can probably just outmuscle most of the. I mean, he's tall as hell too. The dude, he's
6'5".
Yeah,
6'6".
or if taller than that even, I don't know. But
do you remember seeing kind of rewinding to the Colorado game? Do you remember seeing him like flattening Travis Hunter?
Yes.
And then Twitter was like, "Oh, cheap blocking." It's like, nah, dude, that was textbook. He literally just mauled him to the ground.
Who was the player that got the helmet ripped off?
That was their safety.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't Hunter, but I thought that was really funny too. Quarterback change, right? So Jeff Sims practiced throughout the week. He was getting treatment constantly. They said he had a high ankle sprain, not a severe one. They said that he's been practicing, that he went to warm-ups, like he warmed up, but Matt Rule said that Harburg was the guy to go after Wednesday's practice. He said,
yeah, that's what I heard too. Wednesday was when they really made that decision.
Like they said like Harburg looked phenomenal at practice Wednesday. They're like, this is the go-to guy for right now.
He looks confident. He sounds confident. From what I heard, he looks like he knows how to run the team, run the offense, and that's really all you can ask for right now.
He was the first Nebraska native to start for Nebraska since 2001 that we offered a scholarship to. So he was the first, he went to Kearney, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. It was also Nebraska's first home opening win since 2008.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think he stepped up drastically. I have some notes right here that I thought that he showed a lot of heart, fire, and desire really that we needed. And for it being that homegrown kind of kid or guy, essentially, that comes out to the field, leads the team, and isn't afraid to take a hit, never slid ever.
Yeah, he said that in the moment, that's what he likes to do. At post-game press conference, he said he was feeling it just a little bit. So I'm sure the offensive coordinator, his coach, is going to get into his ear a little bit about sliding, because we can't keep losing quarterbacks.
Yeah, but also, like I said, I think it gave that fire to the team.
It showed the offense that, hey, I'm here with you guys.
Yeah.
I'm here to fight with you.
And he fought for every yard. And there's some situations that he did a read option and took off, and it's like slide. He's like, oh, I'm going to lower my head.
I don't know if people know, he is really not that much smaller than Jeff Sims.
No, they have I think Harburg was faster, actually.
Harburg's faster. They're around the same height. If anything, I know
Harburg was 6'4" and Jeff was 6'5".
He says he's gotten up to 235. He likes to play at 210. That's his comfortable weight. He says he plays at 210. He hits like he's 235.
I love that about him, though. Like, I really do. So then it kind of makes me wonder, do we ride with him for next week? Like, I know Rule came out post-game conference and said, I'm going to look at both quarterbacks and assess after that. Like, we have two quarterbacks that can win us the game. I think you go hot hand. I think you have to go with Harburg.
Yeah. And I understand what he's saying. Realistically, you've proven that you have one quarterback that can win you a game. Jeff Sims hasn't proven that yet. But on the other hand, I feel like you owe Jeff Sims at least one start at Memorial Stadium. The man went on the road for his first two games, and some of those turnovers were just so out of character. for him. And so I hope that he gets to see some action next week against Louisiana Tech if he's healthy.
Yeah, I do. I just pulled up some of Matt Rule's kind of post game conference notes too, that where it was supposed to be a running style offense this game. Like that's what they planned for. They didn't plan for Harburg to throw it, but I thought he looked good throwing the ball. Like obviously the long ball accuracy wasn't there.
Yeah, yeah. He's got to work on that a little bit, and that'll get a little
It's just
more
experience.
Yeah, and when he'll get some more Team 1 reps with the Team 1 wide receivers, and they'll start to build that chemistry. You could obviously tell that him and Fedoni have that chemistry.
They were roommates last year. I think last year, this year, they were roommates.
Even this year, I think they said they were roommates, and so you know that those two lead the second team.
Did you think that the game kind of went slow?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that's kind of what we wanted to do. We weren't trying to.
Yeah, we're not trying to like score a million points, right? But I felt like the pace of the game was pretty slow. I mean, I felt like, sweet, we score in the first opening drive, and then it's just like, oh, here we go. Second quarter, we're not scoring.
Yeah, a little slow and methodical, and I think that'll pick up as each week as we play the next opponent and how we get a little more comfortable with each other.
So another thing too that I kind of like looked up again just to like make sure my facts are right. I do like that we did control the tempo of the game. Like I know I said that it felt like it was slow, but to your point, it is the Big Ten football that we play. 36-minute total time of possession versus their 23 minutes.
Yeah.
So we really took it to them. We held the ball, we ran it, blue collar smash mouth football that Nebraska is used to doing. So I agree with you that it's the kind of game that we have to and need to play.
Yeah, it's something that we're gonna have that we need to prepare for, because as crappy as we look right now and sad as Nebraska fans may be, the Big Ten West is still not off the table completely. And so there's no point in switching up your style of offense for a different team when you are about to head into conference play in a couple of weeks. So practice what you know, practice and get better at the things that you guys do well, so then you're prepared for Big Ten opponents.
You just reminded me too that fans always asked Matt Rule, what is our identity? Because we struggled to find it. Like, are we a running team? We a passing team? We can never find it. He did come out and say post-conference that we are a spread offense, and we are an aggressive defense, and we are a, quote, defensive team. So does that mean that, like, Matt Rule is a defensive guy? That's where he played. That's where he's familiar with his coaching style. Like, do you think that we are a defensive team?
Well, yeah, you have to call yourself that when your defense ranks in the top 10 and has pretty much saved your butt.
It's like that damn good
every game so far. I mean, even though you lost the first two, they could have won you those first two games with how well they were playing. Yeah, you'll probably have to hang just to keep the fan base excited and stuff. You'll have to hang your hat on your defense and just tip your cap to them, because they are kind of your whole team right now until you figure out that offense. I know our running backs, their yards per carry is pretty good.
Did you see Ramir didn't suit up?
He came back after the first half. He went to the locker room and then he came out in the street clothes. And I don't know if they've totally said exactly what's happened.
Yeah, I don't know either. I read that, and I noticed that when I was watching the game that he was wearing street clothes on the sideline. I thought he got hurt in Colorado.
Yeah, he may have got dinged up in Colorado. I know Gabe Ervin left at NIU, but post game he came to the stands and the microphone and said that he was fine. So his injury is fine. And then who was the other? Leinart, our linebacker, freshman stud, got hurt. And you just really, really hope that it's not too serious, because he was such a bright spot for that defense.
I think Reimer's big. Nick Heinrich is big.
Yeah,
Like
you got
those are the
leaders.
yeah, you do. And I agree with kind of what you said earlier too. And it's very truthful that we have a bunch of skilled, fast secondary
Well,
like
that's why you
DBs.
play Hartzog. You think Hartzog plays in almost any other Big Ten team?
No, he's
No.
like 5'10".
Yeah, he's tiny, but the guy plays nose to the ball and just grinds it out, and he flourishes in the 3-3-5.
There is a kid that actually just reminds me of Harzog that I watched play little league football here in Nebraska. That he goes to high school here. He's in high school. I think he's a junior. Um, Thomas Spears. I'll give him a shout out if anybody wants to let him know we're talking about him. Whatever it is, Thomas Spears is a kid that the minute I watched him, he's a corner. He is very undersized. He's probably I think right now he's probably 5'6", 5'7". Like he's very undersized. The dude is fast. The dude is shifty. The dude can cover. He's a corner. He's just a stud at corner, and he plays nose to the ball. So I think that I'm not saying come to Nebraska, but I'm saying that if those are the kind of kids that we want to recruit, you have to stay in state and look at someone like him.
Yeah, you can't be afraid to take a chance on some of those players in state that could or may not pan out in the end. But I think the rules staff is really good at identifying those kind of players.
Didn't Coach Foley go to every single school in
Every
Nebraska?
single school, yeah, and so they're not going to miss a player like the past staffs have done before. They're really good at projecting and building off of what they're really good at, and that sometimes these players don't even have a ton of football experience. They're mostly track stars, and that's kind of what Rule's building is the quick, fast, aggressive football team. He's looking for gamers. That's kind of a phrase that's been thrown out. Hartzog's a gamer, where he might not pass the eye test. Maybe in practice he'll do a couple special things, but in the game when the lights are the brightest, he steps up. And I felt like Harburg kind of did the same thing a little bit.
I was very nervous watching him take snaps. Like I'll be honest with you. I also don't. I will put this on record. I'm not a big Chuba Purdy fan.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not.
know why the old staff loved him. This new staff loves him. I don't know why Whipple hated Harburg, but he did for some reason. But no, I guess maybe just Chuba's got that. He's just so handsome. I don't know.
I do. I don't know. Like I
Maybe
don't know.
that's
Maybe
it.
because it's Brock's brother. Like you're just hoping that he's as good. I don't know. I'm not a Chuba fan. I think it's because like from what I read, Coach Rule said that he had the best ball of the three. He throws it the best, but his decision making isn't the greatest. And he's not a runner.
And he's a little, is he what, 1 year younger than Harburg, I thought?
He's a sophomore, yeah.
Is he? Yeah. Okay. So he's he's still growing into himself a little bit. I would not suggest letting him leave. I would just keep him. You would want to keep anyone whose brother is a starting quarterback in the NFL, and if you can keep them as your third quarterback on your roster, that's
Jeff is a junior, and Harbaugh, I think, is a sophomore or junior.
okay.
So we're pretty much like I don't want to say stuck with these guys, but these are our quarterbacks for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. If not starters, then the backups. Yeah, and they're gonna have to go and grab another quarterback out of the portal after this year. I
What if we
think.
just like randomly switch to like the Army triple option? We just ran the ball
God, I
nonstop.
hope not. I just want to win games, please.
I just want to win games. I don't know if we could win games because the conference is built for that. Like the line, the trenches are built for it. Um, I have to also highlight. I find it hilarious that Anthony Grant, every single time that he gets the ball, not every time, but every game, he runs some dude over. Like I put, he little boys them, meaning like runs them over, puts them in the ground, either stiff arms them, trucks them, whatever you want to call it. But he literally like sat him down, was like, "This
He
is my world."
he runs angry, and those running backs are fun to watch, and that's why a lot of people are big Anthony Grant fans and want to see him in the game because he's gonna make a guy miss, break some ankles, or he's gonna smash a dude in the face.
I also noticed that our O line has not drastically got better, but like I saw a little improvement this game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're all old guys. They've all played together for a long time, and so you just hope that they would be better or get better game by game. And you're seeing it a little bit, but you just I mean, the run blocking were not that bad. It's not too bad because I think um, our new strength and conditioning coach has really helped the offensive line's flexibility and lateral quickness, which is helping with our run blocking. But the pass blocking needs work, obviously.
We also did have. I know every college does this, but I feel like Nebraska is kind of different because we have the consecutive sellouts, you know, every year. So I think it's big that um, we have these big recruits come into town. So we did have the number one offensive tackle,
Brandon Baker.
yep, in the class come into Nebraska. We had a lot of in-state kids.
There was like 60 recruits, they said. It was a big number of recruits. I think the only official visitor, though, was Brandon Baker. They rolled out the red carpet for him.
Oh yeah,
Anything he wanted, anything he needed, they they need this guy on their roster. And when you get someone of that caliber, it's really going to be a domino effect, and other offensive linemen are going to want to play with this offensive lineman.
and it was kind of the almost domino effect with the in-state kids at Bell West. Like you have
Yeah,
the three, the two, or I'm sorry, the two wide receivers and the quarterback, and then I know those two West Side kids that are out there right now, their teammates, and one of them
I don't know.
was at the game.
Yeah, I don't know about Anthony Rizak, the quarterback for Westside, but I'm pretty confident that Caleb Benning is going to come to Nebraska. I don't feel like I have to worry about that too much.
Did you see what he said about it? Did you hear what he
He
said?
said that he wants to play for Tony White's defense.
Yeah, he said that you can feel the like
They play
energy.
for each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
feel
play
the
hard.
aggression that they have towards the opposing team.
Yeah, and so I thought that was good. Don't he didn't need to say anything about Rule or Nebraska. Right now, the guy that's shining the brightest is Tony White, and you.
Oh
That's
yeah,
good. Give him a shout out because that he's earned it.
I agree. Give that man a raise already.
Yeah, get that man a raise.
I did kind of touch on a little bit of the Colorado game. I think that this Northern Illinois game that we just had, we are starting to find a little bit of identity, like a little bit of a flow. I know I said earlier in the episode that Matt Rule said we're a spread offense and a defensive team, but you still have to have an offensive identity. Like, yeah, we're gonna run the ball at you, but if you stop that, what can we do? We can't
Yeah,
throw.
if not for the fans, for yourself. Like your team needs to know what the what to hang their hat on and what to go to when.
I also think that it's kind of funny that he said that, especially after he's like, we're gonna implement a fullback,
Yeah.
and I don't recall seeing the fullback last game.
Besides the time where he got into motion and caused the fumble.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see him last game for the NIU game, but maybe I just didn't see it. I don't
They're
recall seeing
really
the
more
fullback.
using him. I think they'll implement the fullback more in the years to come. Right now, they're using it as really just an extra blocker. They're trying to go as big as possible when they're running the ball. Smash mouth football, Big Ten football, and so they'll throw in that extra tight end. They'll throw in that fullback.
Do you think that they'll bring him in, like bring the fullback in, like, kind of when we go into more conference play?
Potentially.
Just because it's something that we haven't put on film yet, we haven't shown.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have. They obviously have plays drawn up for the fullback. I just don't know if we have the personnel. I mean, what is it, Bonner?
Mm-hmm.
He's probably your best fullback.
We had
Like,
that kid that, yeah, I think that's the kid that transferred from Notre Dame
or there,
that
and then
went
there
to
was
Scott.
the Omaha kid that was at Notre Dame that transferred to here, and he was the one that caused that fumble in the motion. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're really just used for extra blockers right now. I don't know if we have too many packages with them, but we'll see with the Big Ten because it's going to be a lot more run game in the Big Ten. I feel like
I'm also kind of sad that we haven't got to see Tristan Alvano kick.
a
Like,
deep one.
yeah,
What's
like
his longest one? I didn't. What did he kick
uh,
versus NIU? Was he had like a 30-yarder or
he had a
something?
32, 33 yarder. But I mean, for those who are in Nebraska and know about Tristan Alvano or want to spread the love and knowledge about Tristan of he is him, I will stand on that hill by myself. I have to. That kid in his senior year played for Westside. They won the state championship here in Nebraska. He kicked all of the field goals. I think the
5 for 5.
he went 5 for 5, 15 points. It was like 15-7. I think that final score was. The final one to win it. Um, I'm sorry, it was like 15 to like 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
But my point is the game winning field goal was a 56-yarder, and the kid hit it through the uprights
in Memorial Stadium where he's
Yes.
kicking now.
Yes, through the uprights, down the middle, with some room to go. So, I mean, the dude can kick.
Is he only missed one so far this year? Was it at Colorado?
Yeah, and people are blaming the elevation on it.
Yeah, I don't know. What was that one like in the 40? That was like
That was
40.
44.
Okay.
But
Yeah, no, I trust him, and he's a gamer. He's another kid that's a gamer. His lights shine bright, and he's there, and he'll step up. He showed it in the state championship game, like Alex said. So no, I think I have faith in Bryony Bushini. I have faith in uh, Tristan Alvano, and I think we have some high flyers and some in-state guys that want it super bad on the special teams, like Phelan Stanford, who just recently got his scholarship this year. He made a couple of huge tackles on special teams.
he got in on cornerback.
And he
in the
got
fourth quarter.
in on cornerback. So it just shows that if you show up to practice, you put in the work, and you show that you have a skill set, they're going to find a way to put you in the game, and they're going to tailor that skill set of yours to make sure that it helps the whole team. This coaching staff is really good at that.
I agree. I think the staff is amazing at building the confidence of players. And, I did see Rule a couple times on the sideline, like not really losing his mind on the player. Like I know Kemp got
Well, a little bit with his licking his lips, but
Yeah, I was about to just say about that. Like he was really aggressive lip licker. It's hard to say, but
like he had rabies or something.
dude, it was. I don't even know. Like I was telling Luke before we started recording, was he even licking his lips, or was he just licking the air? Like because it looked like his tongue was just flat out of his mouth.
Yeah, he may have had a small seizure. I don't know, but who knows? I think he's healthy. He's fine. We'll get him some chapstick. He'll get a NIL deal with some chapstick company.
I think that he has to address that. Like tomorrow's press conference, he has to address it, or someone has to ask him that question.
It was odd. I don't know.
I also noticed that to start the game, Matt Rule didn't walk out with him in the tunnel walk. He walked to the side and let them go.
Oh, he did. I didn't. So that was the first time in the new South Side.
Yep.
For their new tunnel walk. I know they moved the horseshoe. That's always been above the thing. They put that in the locker room. And they have the sign that says "I play for Nebraska" above their new tunnel walk entrance.
I will say I do like. I don't know if I want to give credit to Rule or if I think it's more Trev. I think it's definitely Trev Alberts is the one that's coming in and just not really completely getting rid of tradition, but revamping it. Like I think the horseshoe thing probably needed to change. I think I play for Nebraska thing is sweet. I don't know about the tunnel walk. Like I thought the tunnel walk was fine. I think it's cool, but
the third, fourth quarter show was amazing.
That is awesome. The drone show. It used to just be a light show. Now it's a drone show.
Yeah, drones, fireworks, fire, like strobe lights. It was incredible.
I think they showed it off or give a sneak peek of it during the volleyball game that we had, volleyball match.
Yeah,
that sold out. I think they showed it to kind of show the world like, hey, we sold out with 92,000 people. So I think that's definitely where they showed a sneak peek or a teaser of it, so to make it work.
I mean, it was in the back of my mind. I didn't know if there was going to be maybe a couple chunks of seats that were going to be empty for this NIU game, but it sounds like it was as full as it could be out there. And that's kind of new coach, season opener, home opener. You're going to get that, but I just didn't know what the kind of start that we've had, especially coming into this game, knowing that it's going to be your backup quarterback taking the field probably. But I'm glad that the fans showed up, and they will continue to do that as long as we don't piss down our leg like we did the past couple of years.
But we've also, to add to like the consecutive sellouts, my wife brought this up to me the other day that they did expand the stadium. So does that make our consecutive sellout streak at
Did they
risk.
expand it, or did they? I thought they shrunk it by just a little bit and made like the nicer seats, like they did.
Oh,
There's like a whole two sections that go all the way across the field that they turned into red seat back seats, and I think it may have only shrunk the size by a couple thousand or maybe a couple hundred,
I don't know. Let me look.
but they
It's
put those new red seat backs in,
let me look. I'm looking it up right now, but
which I'm a fan of. I mean, I think make the stadium fan friendly, family friendly, easy and accessible. That's what people like. They hate
yep,
hassle, they hate lines. Everything is accessible and easy as possible. And if it has to shrink down in size, raise the ticket prices, then that's what you need to do. Just make the experience better then.
you were right. So they did shrink by, they said 1.5%. So it's not, I mean, it's probably a 1,000 people, but they did say that they're adding like the backing of the chair now. So
Yeah.
it's going to be more comfortable.
Yeah. I'm a fan of that.
I
I'm
agree. I think that's huge.
I think if we move away from bleacher seats and troughs in the bathrooms, I think that's probably better
That's
for Husker
yeah, a
football.
major win. What was I say? That
Although I do like peeing in a trough. You don't get to do that anywhere else besides at Memorial Stadium.
I don't know if that's a good thing. Is that a
It's a
good thing?
memory, all right?
It's a memory. So then kind of you think about the ticket prices, right? Like the ticket sales are going to go up the more we start winning. I think people are going to buy the tickets no matter what if we're winning or losing. But if we start winning, they have to raise the ticket prices. They have to.
Yeah, they'll raise it a little. They don't want to make it out of reach for fans, and so there's so much space around the stadium to do stuff, and so they'll make up if they don't want to raise the ticket prices too much. They'll make up for it with activities and vending operations going around outside the stadium. Because what is it? Every game day, every Saturday, Lincoln becomes the largest populated
The
city.
third largest.
I thought it became the largest in the state of Nebraska. I think
Um,
it overgrows Omaha on Saturday college game day.
I know. Well, Omaha's like million people, so I think it's third because I think Lincoln's one. I guess technically you're right because everyone moves from different towns and cities into Lincoln, so I guess Lincoln does become the biggest. But yeah, isn't that like insane to think about people from our state will drive X amount of hours just to go watch a football game? Like we don't even have a pro team here.
Yeah, it's all they have. And if you put a competent football and have a coach that means well and says the right things and is a good guy, like these people will continue to drive 2, 3, 4 hours to come see you play on Saturday.
And they'll pay for a hotel. There's 4 or 5 hotels in downtown Lincoln, and I'm guaranteeing there's probably a couple Airbnbs that are around. Um,
You were right. Memorial Stadium would be the third largest city in Nebraska as long as the stadium is around 60% capacity.
yeah, that's 60% capacity. That's
So it even could probably push for second at the fullest times. I don't
yeah,
know.
the 92,000 people we held in it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. People here, that's what they love, and they're gonna hold on to it until you prove that you can't win football games. And I
Yeah,
hope we never see that.
no. We do have Louisiana Tech next week. I did have tickets to go. I'm kind of glad I'm not going. I gave them to my head coach that I coach football with. Kind of glad I'm not going. I want to actually be able to watch it from a fan perspective in a TV, so I can hear kind of what the announcers are saying, and then I can also kind of like digest it myself and be able to take notes. I think that's kind of how I like it.
Yeah, Louisiana Tech. I don't know if they'll be much better, much worse than NIU. They will have skill players.
Yeah,
You can throw a rock off your front porch in Louisiana and hit a 4 or 5 star player. So it, they won't be short on talent. But I think we'll be able to outsize, out physical them like we did with NIU. As long as we can take care of the ball, I would expect it to be pretty much the same kind of outcome as we saw this week.
we are
Last week.
a 22-point favorite.
Yeah, heavy favorite.
So I
Well, we saw what Colorado State did. What was Colorado, like a 17-point favorite or something like that, and they Colorado State took them to double overtime at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't stay up to watch it. I'm not a Colorado fan anymore,
It
or
was
at all.
tough. I didn't watch any college game day because it was all Deion Sanders all the time, but I couldn't not watch that game once it hit overtime, especially.
I say I don't know if what your schedule looks like, but we'll have to collaborate again before the game this Saturday. Like I think we could probably get another one in. I know I got some days off, some times off. We could work for another quick episode, just kind of
Yeah,
over a practice recap of the week and kind of a game preview.
yeah. Well, we can update you on injuries, maybe who the quarterback might be, and then we'll figure out some information on Louisiana Tech and some of their players. I would not assume they have a 7th-year starting quarterback like NIU did.
That
We
dude's got a family.
we had yeah. Well, Colorado's kicker was 31, married with 3 kids. And
I saw that graphic and I didn't know if it was true or not.
But NIU's quarterback was in his 7th year, and we had tape on him. He was Michigan State's quarterback. We had tape on him in 2018 against Nebraska. That blew my mind. That probably tells you that you need to get an office job.
You need to graduate.
Yeah, or that.
It's funny because we were watching the game and my mom goes, "How does that guy have 7 years?" And I was like, "Well, you have 4 years of eligibility. You have a COVID year that we gave you. He probably redshirted and he got a medical red shirt. That's probably
like a transfer red. Yeah,
that's
probably had
like our transfer. That's probably like the only way that you can get it. I know."
And he was terrible.
And he was terrible. But wasn't Noah Vedral, who transferred from us to Rutgers, was the same way? Noah Vedral played like 6 years.
Yeah, there's a Nebraska kid that's on Ohio State's roster as a quarterback. They're like 3rd string quarterback.
Oh, I have no idea.
Hold on, I'll find it real quick before we end this thing.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's news to me. But I think definitely like Louisiana Tech will be somebody that
Tristan Gebbia.
He transferred to Ohio State.
Tristan Gebbia is the 3rd/4th string quarterback for Ohio State.
Dude, he left when
2017.
What the heck was his name? Who's the old grandpa that we had as a coach?
Oh,
Mike Riley.
Yeah, Mike Riley. Yeah.
Mike Riley went to Oregon State. He went back to Oregon State to be like a offensive advisor, and then Tristan went with him, and then Mike Riley became like a coach at the USFL, which is some football league that they just created again, and he's still coaching there, and so that's insane to me.
Yep. Well, that's pretty much all I got.
That's all good, dude. I think it's a good place for us to call it a night, and we appreciate you guys listening as always. Go Big Red.
Yeah, GBR. We'll get back to you soon with some more info, more updates.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe, share the love, tell everybody about us. We're gonna do some guest spots coming up too. We'll get some people on here, kind of give their opinions, feedbacks, everything. So
maybe a little taste of a different sport that we don't know that well.
I'm all about
hockey specifically. Hockey. I don't know anything about that. So
I'll do some research. So
okay.
Thank you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Peace out.